A very pleasant morning to all our listeners and our viewers on the various internet platforms. You're listening to Voices on 98.9 Win FM. In the studio with me is a very esteemed guest, Mr. Ras Kalonji, and you're listening to another episode of Voices. My name is Socrates, host of this program. We'll pause first for a word from those who make this show possible and get back to continuing the program. Once again, welcome to Voices, and we pause for a word from the sponsors.
Reduce sugar chubby with the same great taste. Lots of magic fruity flavors, drink the more healthy way.
It tastes so yummy, chubby, chubby.
25% less sugar chubby. Be active, be healthy, drink lots of chubby. Kicking football, playing cricket, having fun in the sun.
It's chubby.
Reduced sugar chubby keeps you cool and refreshed.
It tastes so yummy, chubby, chubby.
25% less sugar chubby. Jumping rope, running races, have fun.
It tastes so yummy, chubby.
Drink the more healthy way.
Once again, good morning. You're listening to Voices on Win FM. My name is Socrates, and in the studio with me today is Mr. Ras Kalonji. We'll be discussing some matters that relates to the current U.S. elections. And one may inquire, why are we concerned with the U.S. elections, apart from the fact that just about everything that happens in the U.S. affects us in the Caribbean. So it does matter that we pay attention and stay tuned as to what's happening there. But before we give the mic to Ras Kalonji, I want to say good morning to all the sanitation workers within the Federation. I want to thank you in a very special way for all you're doing, all you've done, and your diligence and, all you're doing to beautify the Federation, keep us clean, keep us healthy. In the same vein, I want to say good morning to Jam Down. Manners, of course, he's out there, one of the soldiers, very adamant about certain aspects of, the community, especially when it comes to sanitation. So Jam Down, good morning. And once again to all the sanitation workers. Up in the U.S., we have DJ Marisha, we have Chris Collins in the U.K. Of course, Avril enjoys in the New York area. And then we have Dr. Sweeney. So those are folks we know who log in from overseas, and all our nationals throughout the diaspora. Welcome to another episode of Voices. We have in the studio, as I mentioned earlier, Ras Kalonji. He's no stranger to the studios, and he has some very pertinent issues he wishes to discuss. So I'm going to turn the mic over to him, and we will discuss the topic of today. Morning, Ras. Welcome to the studios of Win FM.
Yes, blessed Lord, Brother Socrates. It's good to be here again at Win FM. It's
Definitely.
like home to me, because we had a program here, Redemption Cry, for nearly 8 years. So it's like I'm home.
Mm-hmm.
But I just like to greet all our brothers and sisters, whether they're here in the Federation of St. Kitts and Nevis, Sweet Lyamiga and Queen City Early.
Yes.
Those listening in the diaspora, the African diaspora, whether it's here in the Western world or on the continent and wherever you are in the world. Basically, we want to discuss this matter of the U.S. elections that is upon us, the 3rd of November.
Mm-hmm.
And it's very important because we see that the fascist president of the United States, Donald Trump, have declared war on African people. Now, you might say, well, why do you say something like that?
Well, there's a lady in the U.S. right now. Her name is Brenda O'Neill. She just let me know she's logged in. She will agree with you. So go right ahead.
No, I was looking at CNN one evening, and some people was protesting by the White House, and the president released his security forces and drive back the crowd and went over by the church and hold up the Bible. Yeah. So when I'm saying that this fascist criminal, is very dangerous to us now. I know personally because I demonstrated against Donald Trump when I was in the U.S. with the Central Park jogger case.
Okay,
So
that
we-
was some years back.
Yeah, we know that he's a racist because what he did basically is when the brothers was arrested and the trial came up, he wrote, he sponsored, put information in all the newspapers saying that the brothers was guilty. All the policeman them did basically is that this incident happened in Central Park. Central Park is like, okay, you see where the square is here, and you have Newton next door. Central Park is here and Harlem is right there.
I've been to Central Park, know the demographic.
So
Yeah.
what I'm saying is that they just went into the community, pick up, I think, 5 brothers and
Central
some
Park 5 they were
Latinos.
called.
Yeah, exactly. And they were convicted, and he was responsible.
One of the
for-
main influences
Yeah.
because of the articles he wrote.
Exactly, for their conviction. So we know his history. And no, he's president of the United States at this present moment. And we see that the rhetoric that he's putting forward, that basically what he's saying, that he's not going to accept the results of the election if he's not the winner. And he have his white supremacist gangs and thugs really intimidating people, especially black people in the United States. And the December 12th movement, which I'm a member of,
Okay.
and the International Association Against Torture, and the Provisional Government of the Republic of New Africa, which I'm a representative in the Western world, because you should be a nation of people. But in the United States in particular now, there is a general election, and it is very important for our own, not only our nationals who are in the United States, but black people in general, is that this is a very important elections. No, we like to say that, we support the lesser of the two evils, because we know both of them are evil. But, at this present time, moving forward with what is on the rise, what is implemented in the U.S., fascism, and we say that fascism is the open terroristic dictatorship of the most reactionary, most chauvinistic form of imperialism and finance capital. So we have a basic understanding on what that basically means.
I got you. But before we go any further, I would like you to tell me, what do you think this means to the average Joe on St. Kitts Nevis?
Okay, what it means...
Because people are looking for the correlation.
Yes.
You understand what's happening there, as we think there is so far away. But from where you sit, just explain to me and the listening public, why should it matter to the average Joe on the streets of St. Kitts and Nevis, from where you sit?
Well, that's a good question, and I'm glad that you posed the question, because our people don't look at it that way. They see a separation, but there's no separation. I'll go back to 1823.
1823.
Yeah. As part of this mission, as a way to provide a shield for democracy and development, we, together with our friends, are now planning joint training exercises in the Caribbean and Central America. Many of those countries in Central America are considered too high a risk for private investment. Now, in 1823, President Monroe, because each president have a doctrine. Now, you hear when I go on back? In 1823, we were
Monroe
still
doctrine.
enslaved, yeah. 1823, President Monroe, the Monroe Doctrine, right, proclaimed the whole of the Western world belongs to the United States. 1823, Monroe Doctrine signed. U.S. claims Latin America as its area of influence. When I mean Latin America, they mean both the Caribbean and Latin America. You know what I mean? North and South and Central America and the Caribbean.
Got you.
So what we are saying basically, now, we know this is, I think, is the 40th anniversary of the destruction of the Grenada Revolution.
Yes.
And Prime Minister Maurice Bishop made a statement that we are in nobody's backyard. Though the United States considers their backyard in the sense, you have
Latin
a
America.
beautiful home, and you're chilling on your veranda, and you go back in your backyard and just chill. So what they're saying basically is that this whole hemisphere belongs to them. And when we understand the history of white supremacy, is that when we talk about manifest destiny just basically means that the white man have the right to rule the world. And this part of the world, he should dominate and determine what goes on. So if our people want to say that the U.S. elections have
Nothing to do with us.
nothing to do with it and no relationship, you understand? That's why I go back to the Monroe Doctrine, because the Monroe Doctrine proclaimed the whole of the Western world belongs to the United States. Now, basically, I like to read the letter that was sent to the Secretary General of the United Nations from December 12 Movement International Secretariat, International Association Against Torture. And these are NGOs in the United Nations and the Provisional Government of the Republic of New Africa. To Mr. Antonio Guterres, Secretary General, United Nations. Request for international observers as U.S. 2020 elections. Now, you know, the United States like to say that you need to have observers to everybody's elections. You know what I'm saying? Secretary General Guterres, we are writing to request the presence of a substantial delegation of international observers at the U.S. 2020 presidential elections. President Donald Trump and members of his Republican Party have made it clear, through word and deed, that they intend to ensure his re-election through voter suppression and racial intimidation. The tactics are many and varied and publicly documented. He has stated that the only way he can lose the election is through voter fraud. Most ominously, President Trump has refused to commit himself to the surrender of the presidency should he lose the election. International observers are crucial to assuring that the elections are being held freely and fairly. The U.S. has a long history of denying the vote to its minorities, particularly to its black population. It took 100 years after black people freed themselves from chattel slavery before the U.S. Congress passed the Voting Rights Act of 1965. No, we got adult suffrage in 1952. You see what I'm saying?
65 years.
Exactly. Which provided the legal protection for them to vote free of discrimination. Over the next 48 years, black people, often at the cost of their lives, exercise their right to vote, but still face obstacles in doing so. In 2013, the U.S. Supreme Court basically overturned the 1965 Voting Rights Act in Shelby versus Holder. Since that decision, more and more barriers have been successfully placed in the path of black voters who have been the bulwark of the Democratic Party. We understand that the OSCE, Organization for Security and Cooperation in Europe, has reduced its original observer team from 500 to 30 members to monitor the elections. We are proposing that the Security Council and the General Assembly invite observer teams from the African Union and CARICOM.
Time is short.
Time is short and of the essence. This is not a partisan request. We are international NGOs in consultative status with ECOSOC. The U.S. is facing an existential threat to democracy. Trump's call for the ultra-nationalists and violent white supremacist Proud Boys gang to stand back and stand by, and for white supremacists to go to the voting polls, echoes the master race rhetoric which led to Hitler's election in 1930, Germany. We ask that you exercise all the powers of your office to ensure the substantial presence of truly international observers at the crucial elections. Signed
by
Viola Plummer, Chair of the December 12th Movement, and Roger Raham, International Secretary General.
Okay. Let me get across to the public. If you wish to weigh in on the conversation, the numbers to call are 466-0989, 662-0989, 762-0989. And for the overseas lines, we've got 718-785-6948, 508-921-4619. And from the UK, we've got 0333-044-0065. As we say good morning to Peter over there at Development Bank. Good morning to you, sir, as we continue.
As we continue, I would just like to end with this. That I'll just like to read again the December 12th Movement International Secretariat.
Is that a document?
Yeah, boldly call on the United Nations for the immediate deployment of international observers to monitor the 2020 United States presidential elections. We make this demand to alert the international community and U.S. voters that their right to vote and for their votes to be counted has been challenged by the President of the United States. This is an important national issue that will affect the world community going forward. Therefore, our presidential election should undergo the same international scrutiny that this president has used in condemning and challenging the validity of other countries' elections for fireless, inflammatory speech and concrete action, dismantling of USPS and mobilization of poor buys, then taken up by himself. The continued political division of the United States into red states, blue states in particular, targets black people for disenfranchisement. Therefore, we demand Congressional Black Caucus join this call for international observers to monitor these presidential elections. The letter to the Secretary General of the United Nations and copies to additional international organizations have been delivered, and we encourage all who unite with this demand to join our efforts. And I'd just like to hear up Brother New York job there in New York.
Yes, because
who you say is listening.
I'm thinking because we need to hear from them. They're actually in the meat, in the thick of things happening over there. I mean, COVID is still making a resurgence, and it's affecting just about everybody. And our people out there, we've lost people out there over the past few months. So we'd like to get feedback from Avril, from Joe, from Mauricio, those folks down there.
And King Sweeney,
and
my former teacher.
Dr. Sweeney, if you wish. Right? We want to say good morning to Amber, Louis Hodge over there in Anguilla. They're all tuned in. So let's get the conversation going right after we take a word from our sponsors, and then we get back to the phone lines and we continue the conversation.
WINN is 98.9. 98.9 is WIN FM.
Every day, your immune system is compromised. You use up vitamin C quickly and even faster with stress and cold. Burst back into life with Halib Orange. Burst back into health with 1,000 milligrams of vitamin C, as much as in 12 oranges. Each effervescent tablet is bursting with fresh fruit flavor, sparkling orange, lemon, and sugar-free blackcurrant. Also suitable for diabetics. Health never tasted so good. Halib Orange, bursting with flavor, bursting with health.
Good morning once again. Welcome back to Voices. My name is Socrates, today's host, and we are in the studios with Ras Kalonji, and we're discussing matters that pertains to the U.S. elections and basically Afrocentric issues.
Exactly.
Right?
Yeah.
I give the numbers to call if you wish to weigh in on the conversations. We've got 466-0989. We got 662-0989, 762-0989, 718-785-6948. From Florida area, we got 508-921-4619. And from the UK, Chris up there in Sheffield is 0333-044-065. And we go straight to the phone lines as there's a caller. Morning, caller. Welcome to Voices.
Hi, good morning, Socrates.
Is your name Africa?
Yes, my name is Africa, and it's
welcome to the program.
So, and it's a good thing you asked that. But good morning to Kalonji, your guest for today. Kalonji, I beg to differ in terms of a support of what you consider to be the lesser of two evils. For me, evil is evil is evil. And one day, how smaller evil is, it might even sting you harder than a big evil. So evil is evil is evil. The time has arrived for us to realize there is no comfort zone for us. No comfort zone for us. Mama Africa is calling. Whatsoever your expertise are, It is time to invest. I read an article about J.P. Morgan. They intend to spend $30 billion to stop the hemorrhaging that is going on right now. It seems as if I'm aware that J.P. Morgan is like a London agency, mortgage
It's a mega
agency.
banking institution.
Yes, but it seems as if our people have been awakened now to realize, especially our sisters, the professionals. Not that men are not professional, but the hemorrhages has started in these white-owned institutions that has undermined us for so long. And the time now is to invest in Mama Africa. Mama Africa that has enriched all over. The fight is not going to be easy, but we were here and we'll be here. Maybe not you and I, your grandchildren and great-grandchildren. Somebody that would represent you would remain on this earth. There's no running and no getting away. Yes, the dust is going to settle and the Democrats might win the election. But it's going to be the same old for another 100 years, 200 years. Hell to the no. When there are movements, when there are professionals, you name it, health institutions that are getting their act together and are going home, however little it is, because we're going to die regardless out here in the West. So let's make a way for our children to inherit. We saw a document the other day. It is there, it's online, it went viral about the expert white man who's lecturing these people that, yes, the intention is to keep the continent like that. Keep us. If the continent is kept like that, we will be kept like that also. So now it's we in the West. We are the ones, in the West to inculcate, give an injection to our brothers and sisters on the continent. We are the ones who were brought out here against our will. And we have known, got the expertise, got the know-how to do things. We are the ones that are keeping up all those institutions. Be it in the U.S. or Europe or Asia or wherever. You go Dubai, all over the world, you find us. It is time to go home. It is time to go home. Start to invest your money wisely. Yes, you have deposited on the black-owned bank, which is good, but it should have happened since yesterday. Now, invest it into that railroad from Senegal to Djibouti. Invest it from Cape Town, the highway from Cape Town to Cairo. Invest it on Berry from Indian Ocean all the way to the Atlantic Ocean. Invest it in businesses like Aecon and others are doing. Please invest your money in your home continent. There's no denial about it any longer because Democrats will win and it's going to be the same old, and you will march forever.
Your audience is vast, and lots of folks would have heard your play this morning. But if I may interject here, J.P. Morgan is a mega banking juggernaut. It's an institution that invests based on their self-interest. So whatever they see in Africa, whatever the motivation, note that the banking institutions invest not because they want to help mainly, but there's an interests whereby they can benefit. So we have to watch all investors. You mentioned Aecon. In following what he has been doing, it's really awesome. He's gone to Africa. He's sought people to assist him. He went on his own. He's done some great things that the banks over the many years, and all the major loaning agencies did not take on. And he has done that. So people like him need kudos, but the JP Morgans of the world, you have to watch those folks because they're only going when there's something in it for them.
Yes, that might be so, but it's rightfully, you will discover it is more than what is in it for me. It is in it for my children, grandchildren, and others, where you will discover the selfishness is no longer an added plus. J.P. Morgan is just the start. Other banking institutions will disclose their hemorrhaging also. What I am saying, it is time to invest your hard-earned money in generational wealth. President Trump said something. My friends go to Africa and come back rich. and we got offended. But he was speaking the truth. Not come back rich, come back wealthy.
Okay.
Okay? He spoke the truth.
I think
Okay?
your points are well
So the
taken.
less of two evils is not in my right psychovisual. It's just a way of escaping our reality. And
Okay.
our reality is there's no comfort zone in the West until we get it right.
So you're saying that you have less interest in the election outcomes in the U.S., but your focus should be mainly on investment in the continent.
Well,
Is
not
that your
being
point?
selfish, and because I have my siblings and other family members, and the concern in terms of my solidarity is with there. It's going to be an election. Like I said, the Democrats might eventually win. But as the dust settles, you will discover it's the same old, same old, same old. That's my point.
I
Yes,
got your point.
somebody's going to win the election. And
But
it might be,
but
like, you know what I
Africa,
mean,
you gotta
not
remember.
diagnosing or finding out the real root cause of the matter, but it's just treating the symptoms.
Yeah, but
Not time to treat the symptoms anymore.
listen,
Let's get
brother
to the crux of the matter and deal with it.
Brother Africa, remember our people live there, you know. So they're gonna be impacted
that is what I'm saying. My siblings live there, so it's not like I'm being selfish and discarding and ignoring that
So what
they're
I'm
living
saying,
there and
if
they're
we
living
could-
on that situation.
If we could lessen the impact in terms of the policies, right? That is what we're looking at. We're not saying that if the Democrats get elected, you know, that we will be free. All we are saying is that we're going to get, instead of getting more blows from Trump, we're going to get less from the Democrats. So that's basically it.
Especially based on the
Kalonji,
policies
but we're
he
still going
supported over the
around
past
in a
years.
circle. We're
But-
just dealing with the symptom.
Yeah,
we are
but
going
we-
around in a circle. We're
but-
dealing with the symptom.
but we're gonna get
This
to
is
the
not
cause.
time to
It's a-
deal with the symptom.
it's a
No,
process.
this is
It's a
too long.
process. It's a process to
There's a
get-
time that comes that we will have to make that bold decision. Let us get bold and make the right decision and stop dealing with the symptom.
But it's
You
a
deal with the
process to
symptom
get
for
to the
too long
cause.
now.
It's a process to get to the cause. That's all it is.
Kalonji, we are in a circle. We're just going around in a circle. Let us dismantle the circle and get out of the circle and stop dealing with the symptom. Let us deal with the root
That's what I'm
cause and
saying.
fix
It's
it
a
once and for
process.
all.
It's a process to deal with the cause. That's all it is.
We're going to take another 500 years to deal with the cause.
So,
We've been trying to deal with the cause
Africa.
for 500 years.
You're of Marcus Garvey's philosophy. Is that what you're saying?
And other philosophies that combine
Malcolm X.
together. I just extrapolate from what I know within all of us. It's not just restricted to Marcus Garvey. He did a tremendous job. We don't own no steamship. We can export
I was
things
speaking
from
about the
here to there.
philosophy. I was speaking about the philosophy about leaving Africa, going back to, leaving the U.S. and going back to Africa, etc., etc. What Kalonji is saying that as the situation stands, we have to be mindful of what's happening with the election because it affects us irregardless. We live with the
I
current situation.
understand all of that, Socrates, but what I'm saying, we have been doing the same thing for 400 years. And there's a come a time when with 400 years is a length of time.
So you're asking
we
for a
have to get
complete-
on that 400 years and utilize the next 400 years that is coming up. We can't be dealing with the same thing another 400
Okay,
years.
got you.
That is what I'm saying, because we're dealing with the same thing. We recognize that there's a symptoms we're dealing with. Let us get to the root cause and solve it once and for all. By investing in your motherland, your continent, you were sent out here for a reason. You got the expertise now. Now, transport those expertise, transport those finances, and consider your great-great-grandchildren and generations to come. Not being selfish, but it's a bigger picture, and just thinking about what investment, what is there for me and you now.
Point taken, Africa. Point taken.
Thank you.
Any rebuttal?
No, basically, all I will have to say is that I understand fully what he's saying, but our people is not to that level. We got to deal with them where they are. You see what I'm saying? We have to deal with them where they are, and that is the problem with people like us who conscious. We want to go beyond the masses. We can't go beyond them. We have to deal with them where they're at. And it's a serious issue because we see on the TV, you understand, where Trump, the guy in Wisconsin, the white supremacist, where people was demonstrating, and he showed people in the demonstration. And he's a supporter of
Was
Donald
actually
Trump.
embraced by Trump.
Exactly.
And we go back to the phone lines. Good morning, caller. You'll have one voices.
Yes, good morning, Socrates.
Good morning, sir. How about that?
Yeah, and good morning to Ras Kalonji as well. I just called to back up what Africa just said. And I want to go back to our 8 years of having a black president Now, notice that Obama did not call the Joint Chief of Staff of the American military and make any changes. He made no changes in that aspect. So nothing can start in America for black people. I agree with Africa. It has to start in Africa because, and you know, by saying that, it caused me to remember men like, I raised this last week, Thomas Sankara, I think his name,
Thomas
was
Sankara.
a black
Thomas
leader
Sankara.
in
Thomas
I
Sankara.
can't remember which part of Africa, and they assassinate him, you know? So
Burkina
the
Faso.
change that, yeah,
Thomas
the
Sankara,
change that
Burkina
we
Faso.
need to be recognized has to start in Africa. Now look at Africa today. Every mineral, everything come out of Africa. Yet Africa does not have its own, doesn't manufacture any kind of warplane, warship, nothing. So until this race is going to be recognized and be respected, is that it has to start here. So, you know, all this thing, I mean, look at Ice Cube today now. Back in Trump, we have this guy.
50 cents.
The guy West, so he's a Kardashian. I
Kanye
can't
West.
even remember his
Kanye West. Kanye.
Yes. You know, I mean, these people are just causing, you know, people to sidetrack and lost the focus on the reality.
Well, 50
the thing that is
cents.
happening on the ground.
50 Cent
This
say he's backing Trump because Biden plans to raise taxes on those making over $400,000 a year. So based on
But you
that,
see-
a selfish agenda, he is backing Donald Trump.
That's what he said?
That's what he said. He says if Trump loses, he is leaving the U.S.
Anyway, listen.
I got your
listen.
point. I got your
All
point.
I'm saying is that I agree with what I respect what Kalonji is saying as well, but everything has to start in Africa. And really, right now, there's an awakening in Africa because the youth in Africa, they recognize what's been happening, and the leaders in Africa, they are weak. They are weak and gullible just for money. And the little pretense that they're getting, like Patrick Lumumba says, they're not seeing what is on top of the table. They're getting what is falling off the table. So these leaders in Africa have to go. They got to go.
We've also
I'll continue to listen.
We've also seen where those leaders who come to the fore and are pushing for the real changes, they get assassinated. Right? I'm not going to call any particular nationality, but we know when certain leaders come to the fore with the agenda that would change for the people, they get assassinated. You have, like taking the case with Mugabe. There were many policies put in place to destroy Mugabe, to support his opponents,
You can hear me?
because he was
You can hear
pushing
me?
policies before that were not in step with the international community. And so the UN got together and all the major movers and shakers and put out certain images about his country, and they destabilized his country. And so these things happen. So when certain leaders take a stand, they know they're targeted for assassination. It happens more frequently than we know. So it's not that they're all weak and they're all subject to bribery. They're international forces who are hell-bent on keeping Africa the way it is. The same applies in Haiti. So we have to take each situation as it is, weigh what we know, try to research some more and determine, okay, these situations exist because they're powers that be. The gun lobby in the U.S., they're international. In Haiti, when Aristide disbanded the army, it was a problem for the dealers because if you don't sell arms to a country, if a country don't have wars, you can't sell arms, guns and ammunition. So it's important for them to create these wars so they can sell guns and ammunition to the various factions, and it's all about the bottom line, their profits. So sometimes when we sit back and review what's happening in Africa, there are forces in operation that we don't even see. But we see the images that they want us to see. Africa is all violent, is destabilized, is this and that. And we pause for a caller. Caller, you live on Voices?
Hey, good morning.
Good morning.
How is everybody?
I'm blessed. I think Ras Kalonji is also.
Exactly.
Yeah. I'm glad that you explained that because that's what I really call to speak about. It's not that the leaders are weak, but it's what they are up against. And,
Thank you.
you know, we need to understand why, what is happening, Okay? If we don't understand why, then, I mean, we will be accepting everything that we see put out there in the
Spoon-fed to
media.
us.
Yeah, once we understand the main causes, the root cause of all of this, we will take heart.
It's greed.
The thing about it is, a lot of us don't know, so we don't know how to protect ourselves against what is happening. And finally, whether it is Trump or Biden, I don't know why we as a people arguing over these two, you know, and we you know, maybe, I mean, pitching ourselves against each other, you know, who backing this from who ain't backing that. I don't know why we are doing it. No, I'm not saying that what is happening in the land of the eagle that we should not pay attention. We should, and not only just there, but what is happening in Europe and so on. But whether Trump or whether Biden, it makes no difference. They're all the same. The basic ideology or their fundamental ideologies is the same. All of them understand what they need to do. They understand what their stance should be when it comes to us. It's just that the faces are different and they just use different tactics.
And the
But
special
destination
interest
is the
remains the
same.
same.
It's the same. The destination is the same. Just that some of them, one might take a straighter path to get into that, like what Trump may be doing. Biden might take a little more crooked path, but the destination is the same. They're just subtle, they're slick, strategic, what they're doing. So I don't understand how people argue. And they might say, well, Trump give black people more jobs and so on. That's just the front. That's just the front, because they know a lot of black people don't know what is going on. But look at how many he's killing right in front of the face, and they don't even see that. And I'll stay there. So let us not argue over the two of them, because it makes no difference. And even if Hillary was there, it makes no difference. They say a black president was there, he could not have made any difference. All right?
Because
And
of
I'll stay
these
there.
special interest lobbies in the background. And you made a point when you first called, it says people do not know. And it's because they don't know or they don't want to know. That's why lots of these things are being perpetrated right in front of faces. And then we become reactionary. So is the awareness, or you putting yourself in a position to be aware? There is a famous saying that what you don't know can't hurt you.
So true.
That is so wrong. But continue with the point you were making. Go ahead. And we have a caller on the line. Caller, good morning. Welcome to Voices.
Hey, good morning, King. How are you doing?
Mr. Ranger, good morning, sir. Welcome to Voices. Good.
Oh, so far, so good. I think you have a guest with you, Kalonji.
Yes.
Yeah, man. Aye.
Well, it's interesting to listen and to know, but we don't have to go all the way to the United States to recognize that. We could right here in our backyard.
Talk to us.
There are people who come here and think it, and they even purchase property at places like Beacon Heights.
Mm-hmm.
And I think Beacon Heights is a sale comes under Social Security, right?
Yes.
And they decided that they, as a matter of fact, tour guides used to drive in that area to point out the location.
Mm-hmm.
And whereas there are some people
And the view.
who would have purchased property because of being traveled to that area. And those owners at that location make sure that it become a gated community.
We can't go in
You
there.
cannot tour it anymore.
Mm-hmm.
So it cut the sale drastically from that area. I can tell you this, that there was a gentleman who came here a few years ago by the name of Ellis Carson. He was on an island tour, and he drove to Ackley's Estate. He was on a tour, and he drove to Ackley's Estate, and when he saw the property, when he feel it, he claimed that this is it, and he will think it his home.
Mm-hmm.
And so these people who live in these areas don't want any neighbors. And so it's costing us. It's even costing us development, sluggishness in the Southeast Peninsula. Some of those people don't want any neighbors. They like the natural habitat, the way it is, and they want to keep it the way it is as long as they can.
Mm-hmm.
So these places will not be developed. So they will be stagnant for growth. They will not grow. And that is what they do to us all the time. They give us peanuts and handouts to keep us in the position of which we are. And we always be satisfied with a wage or salary to go home, and when we finish spending it, we have to run back to work again. And then if you don't do that, then they're going to claim that, oh, black people lazy and black people this and all kind of thing. But it's how the system set up. Like Africa say, we're going around in a circle, and the circle is not being broken. And so therefore, those who are the strongest will fight them way in the circle, and live within the circle, because they see that to them it appears as if there is no way out. And we actually turning on each other. Could you imagine? While people are us, we are fighting each other to get what? The crumbs? Have a good day, gentlemen.
Thank you, sir. We know that government normally give some concessions to certain investors. Okay? Take example of Southeast Peninsula. There was a time when security was beefed up there to satisfy the demands of the residents over there. I understand there was a challenge when the discussion of building the bridge came up. There was a sentiment that they don't want that kind of heavy traffic in the area and all that. So you find we have to look at who invests and how we deal with them in terms of concession. But there's another caller line. Caller, morning, welcome to Voices.
Good morning, Socrates.
Good morning, how are you now?
I'm very well, thanks. Someone called in and they were talking about Africa's leaders and how weak and corrupt they were. And then I want to give you an A+++ for your response, because your response was very informed. You understood the complexities behind much that goes on in Africa.
Thank you very much.
The extent to which foreign interests identify the countries with maximum resources and destabilize those countries. You spoke about the ways in which strong leaders who do stand up because they have vision and they are trying to advance the interests of their people are overthrown or assassinated. Yeah, and so I just want to commend you, because so many of us go talking about these things and we're really just regurgitating what the people who don't care about us tell us. We regurgitate that without any understanding. But you have clearly read a lot, you understand a lot, you know a lot, and in the process you're helping to educate our people. And so I thank you for that, because that will help us to respect ourselves more and be a more informed populace. Thank you very, very much.
I'm so honored. Thank you so very much for that. But it's true. But thank you very much. Yes.
Yeah, but let me say this, right? This is J. Edgar Hoover. When FBI Director J. Edgar Hoover was asked what, in his opinion, was the single greatest threat to the United States of America, he responded, African unity. Take a moment
to
let that sink in. That's why you see.
They know.
That's why you see they throw everything at us. You know, divide and rule tactics, everything. They're coming at us at every level.
Take Farrakhan. They made Farrakhan an object of hatred by black people. He's anti-Semitic, he's this. And people tell me, oh, have you ever spoken to the tent? No, I have I've spoken with Farrakhan. As a matter of fact, the first time I met Assegai, years ago, at the Timothy Beach Hotel, it was through the first visit of Farrakhan to St. Kitts. And I took him to meet the Prime Minister then, Dr. Simmons, and he cried like a baby. He said before his mother died, she always spoke about St. Kitts. He had one regret, not coming to St. Kitts before his mother passed. So he came to meet his mother's people. Very well received. And you listen to him speak about our history, our challenges, and you wonder, why is he so hated? Because he's one of our messengers. They tell you who your messengers ought to be, and when they come to the fore, if they don't follow, they brand them, they marginalize them, they label them, and they kill them.
Exactly.
And we have a caller on the line. Caller, you're live. Welcome to Voices. Good morning, caller.
Hello?
Good morning,
Hi.
sir. Welcome to Voices.
Good morning. I just want to, what you're saying, good information. But however, we still have to remember every single one has a right to support or not support, to believe, not to believe, to be a part of, not to be a part of. So, with that said, we have to recognize every single person have that right. Now, it's a fact that a lot of things are happening. But I would like you all to check out what's happening around the world, and you'll realize something. It has nothing to do with race. It has to do with individual countries. And until we realize what is happening, we're going to see something. At the end of the day, all
Excuse
this
me,
what is happening is also distraction.
1 minute, right? So
Yes.
sorry for interrupt you. When you say it has nothing to do with
I'm
race,
trying to follow him.
Second?
when you say it has nothing to do with race,
It has to do with power and control.
well, that's
Now,
what
race
white,
might
that is
come into a
what that is
factor.
what white
No, let me
supremacy
finish.
is.
Race might come into a factor because of certain things, but at the end of the day, when you have to look at the world, you will see every country trying to be dominant, every tribe trying to be dominant. But at the end of the day, it's a distraction.
When you
I
say
support with what you're saying, but what I'm saying, if you try to argue the point, no, let me say try to argue. I will feel good if you try to bring over for Saint Kitts and the needy. You might say, but we're small, but you know what? When you start small, baby steps will come out of something. When you start big, you have a problem. Let us look for Saint Kitts and Nevis first. And if we look for Saint Kitts and Nevis first, we might see a trend start happening, and what you're trying to achieve might achieve easier. Because look at the present day now throughout the world, you will see certain things. I mean, I'm sure you will see in the news, even though they have a lot of demonstrations throughout the world for different reasons. And if it had anything, if race was out of it, in certain countries, it would not have happened there. But it's not because of race, it's because of something else. Race plays a part of it, but it's because of something else why we have so much destruction, chaos, killing of people, suffering. And until we realize that. But what you're saying, there's a lot. The gentleman you're talking about is Maurice Mabumba. When he was killed because of his stance. A lot of leaders killed for them stance. Not just black leaders, but leaders. Because remember, we know geopolitical world that a country trying to dominate the world. This is the first thing we should try to understand. And even on the African continent, there are other, and the African continent, as you will know, mostly black people. And even on that continent, the superior one is still trying to dominate the others. So that's what I'm saying. It is not just race. It is dominance because of power.
I think what we were trying to do is share information, not telling people how to think. And I don't see how the context we should just deal with St. Kitts and Nevis alone, how that play into this discussion.
No, what
we
I'm
don't
saying,
live in a
right?
bubble.
What I'm saying, I know we're not living in a bubble. Now, you have your view, I'm saying my view, and that is where I'm saying everyone have a right.
We
You
want to deny
understand
anybody's
that, right?
rights of opinion of thinking. We want to say that you shouldn't think or shouldn't have this or that right. So I don't see how we started with that, but we're listening.
Right. So what I'm saying, no, because you mentioned about, before I was listening, you mentioned Kanye West and some other person supporting Trump, and you're saying you're saying, in a nutshell, you're saying it shouldn't be, but I'm saying they have a right to do that. It's their right. It's their constitutional right. It's their God-given right to support who they want to support.
No, I don't.
We didn't say they shouldn't.
What someone else
No,
is someone are two different things.
Brother Socrates wasn't saying that they shouldn't support Trump. As you say, it's their right. But I just want you to know basically that when slavery started, when the enslavement of our people started, it wasn't about race. No, you're saying it's not about race, but we are not the ones who make it a race issue. Our enslavers make it a race issue because they wanted to say that they're superior to us.
Were you ever a slave?
Our ancestors were enslaved.
What about before that?
Before that, we were free people in Africa.
Well, I prefer to hear free person because you know something. That is where we just stick in a bubble. We just stick, and what happened after that? We're not even saying, okay, we are now here. What can we do to make sure we prevent that from happening again? Even writing our own.
That's what we're doing now.
No, before I go, let me tell you something. That's why I like to start off with our own legal thinking. If you look at the Southeast Peninsula, okay? I'm not going to go any further than that. You just look and you see something. What I'm saying, we have our battles here to fight. And we are not even fighting our battles to see if we can have little victories. That's what I'm talking about. Because just like what's happening in the world, happening right here. And sometimes we could see other person's faults, but we are not seeing our own.
That is why this program is about sharing information.
So you're saying basically that our struggle is one and the same everywhere. So wherever our people be, we are struggling to correct the situation.
Wherever St. Kitts and the Nevis nationals are, I have a concern.
No, I'm not. We are African people. You see, then that is the problem.
Wherever St. Kitts, you see, I think you should look at the news. Look at the African continent, and you might, what you're saying is good, but what I'm saying, we have to open our eyes to a number of things to have an informed judgment as well. Because what you are saying is also happening in the same place that you're saying, and also it's by their own. So the truth is...
So let me ask you a question. Let me ask you...
It's a power struggle.
Could I ask you a question? Could I ask you a question?
Yes, sir.
We talk about Patrice Lumumba. When he took over the Congo in 1961, he said that the resources of the Congo should be used for the benefit of the people. The Belgium and the United States said, no, we're going to take you out. And put in a man who suppressed the Congolese people for 40 years.
But do you know that happened in the Caribbean as well? And
but that's what I'm saying. But the main...
What I'm saying as well, right? In our own country, our resources, whether it's human resource or not, something get neglected. What I'm saying? I mean, I'm just saying we should look more at ourselves first. If we look at self, we could be able to help others.
But we got to look at ourselves globally. We have to look at ourselves globally. It's the same thing everywhere we are.
Let me ask a question. If you live by a ditch, a cliff, and there's, and you're trying to, well, how can I get over here? You're not even thinking about building a bridge for you to get over it to get food, but you're looking at someone else in a problem, and you're trying to help them and not help yourself. You realize something. It's just like when you go on an airplane.
Everywhere we are, we're trying to build that bridge.
Put your mask on first, then you could help the child. That's what I'm saying.
I want to guarantee you, sir, that Socrates is quite capable of walking and chewing gum at the same time. If you were to go to the history of my songs, I tackle issues locally and internationally. Right? I'm not saying I do everything. And I follow trends in Africa, in the US, globally as a matter of fact. But I must extrapolate what it means, how it affects my people. I wrote a song years ago about the same thing you're addressing today. And they spoke about the need to hold on to your property and with your children.
I am saying something
the
what I have
powers that be do not listen. But we are aware. I was saying it years ago. He was aware of what's happening. Others are aware. We are aware of what's happening. But the powers that be something going on because the policies, the what should I call it? The gang rape still goes on.
But let me show him the link. Mr. Trump said, tell the Proud Boys, stand by and stand back.
Stand back, stand by.
And then he said that we are S-hole countries. So that's the link. And what I'm trying to show is that our people can separate themselves because, as Malcolm said, we have a common enemy. We have a common oppressor, a common exploiter,
you know who the common enemy is and the common oppressor?
Excuse me?
Evil forces are that.
Wherever you want to tell me.
In the world, I'm going to show you something because just the other day, there was a program about laws about not hanging persons who would have committed murder. It might sound strange and off the same route, but what I'm saying, someone takes someone's life, someone says something, that person shouldn't be hanged, but because someone says something, that person should be forgiven. I mean, it might sound different, but is the context. Sometimes when you look at it, what we are saying, because you're saying, even in our local politics, how many of our politicians would say things and they'll say, oh, it's political time, and you, what is it called, politics, atmosphere, whatever it is, so therefore you say certain things. So and what I'm saying, we have to cool down a bit, and sometimes when words are said and look at actions, because I could say I love you, but I mean, you might have heard this already. Somebody could be telling you all the time they love you, but behind the back, what they're planning for you.
Yes, we understand that. But what I'm saying to you, what I'm saying to you,
somebody could be saying they're hating you, and behind the back, they're always giving you gifts, and you never know.
We have to hold all politicians accountable when they said certain things.
Let me interject.
Not only politicians, everyone should be held accountable when they said certain things.
I agree with you.
to our people.
Okay.
Everyone should be held accountable when they say things to our people and also even want to cause problems in the place. Anyways, my friend, nice conversation. You enjoy yourself. Have a blessed one.
Thank you very much. We got about 3 minutes before the midday newscast. So, Ras, I'm going to let you rebut and take it up to the news time for us, okay?
But basically, I understand what the brother is saying, but what I'm saying, he got to look at it in a broader context. And the problem is that what our oppressors have done, they like to separate us. Mm-hmm. Any one of us could have been George Floyd if we was in the situation. And that's what we have to understand. We cannot separate ourselves anymore. The pandemic that is upon us right now, it could take us out in the United States, it could take us out on the continent, and it could take us out in the Caribbean. Because it is global.
As of October 31st, we open our border.
You see what I'm saying?
But the caller, I understand what he's saying, but I got the gist that, and I'm not going to say how he should have phrased his statement, but I think he was trying to say, we have too many of that happening here at home first. You need to address that first before you go abroad. I understand that. That's how he got it.
But what he's saying is happening here is happening everywhere we are.
But he's saying, do it here first before you go abroad. But we can walk on sugar.
But no, we have to make that link. Because, like I said, okay, so the pandemic is happening in the United States. It's happening here too. It's happening everywhere in the world. So that's why we are Pan-Africanists. We have to broaden our scope. And our people have to understand that, as Malcolm said again, we have a common enemy. We have a common oppressor, a common exploiter, and a common discriminator. So no matter where you run, we're facing the same enemy. Just like the pandemic, COVID-19. You see? So it is time, especially in the present situation. You understand? We have to tell our people, our problems that we are facing here is the same problems we are facing everywhere, and the only way we could deal with that problem is through the unification of our people and the philosophy of Pan-Africanism.
We got you. We got roughly about a minute left. We can entertain the next call, but just to
So when we return, Brother Socrates, we'll play a clip by Brother Malcolm, the ballot or the bullet.
The ballot or the bullet.
Yeah.
Okay. We want to thank all the callers who were part of the program this morning. We started just about 11 o'clock. We had about 5-6 callers. And they all made valuable contributions. Africa was saying but this, I think this needs to know some more when we come back. And we will welcome that recording by Malcolm X. What about we pause for the word from our sponsors before we go to the media newscast, and we'll be back after that, the weather report is about 12:35 we'll be here. So thank you, callers, and we'll speak to you on the other half of Voice later on today. Bye.
We're different. We're 98.9. 98.9. Win FM. We're different. We're 98.9. 98.9. Win FM. We're different. We're 98.9. 98.9. Win FM.
We now bring you the Win FM Headline News. The Win FM Headline News is brought to you by Caribbean Alliance, KDP Enterprises, The Grange, Carib Brewery, CNC Trading.
Without limits, happy and free. The skin you're in with no apology. The one to seize the day. Grab an LLB. Live, love, be. With LLB. Live, love, be. Live, love, be. Be who you know you can be. Grab an LLB. Live, love, be. Angostura, lemon, lime, and bitters. Live, love, be.
Maybe it's the way the brilliant gold liquid reflects our sunshine, or how the bright blue of its label mirrors the clear Caribbean skies overhead. Maybe it's the fresh, crisp taste of this beastly cold beer on a scorching hot day. Maybe it's even the way it brings us all together. But one thing is for sure, Carib is very much a part of who we are wherever we're from in the Caribbean. Carib, it's the way we play. Drink responsibly.
Protect your lifestyle with Caribbean Alliance Insurance. Till you walk with a local reputation and service for second to none. Securing you is our mission. People that you can trust, your business, property, we got you covered. Motor or personal, whatever it is, we got you covered. 130 years in this business, we got you covered. For all your insurance needs, visit or call us at 465-2631 or 469-5303. DLU Walwyn, people you can trust.
Shipping your cargo shouldn't be a hassle. It can be as easy as a single call to Amerijet International, your worldwide cargo transportation solution. We provide all the services you need to ship your goods anywhere in the world. Whether your shipment is fresh, frozen, large or small, alive or hazardous, you can count on Amerijet to deliver it safe and sound. Amerijet International, by land, sea or air. We get it there. For more information, visit us online at www.amerijet.com or call us at KDP Enterprises, telephone number 466-9595.
Without limits, happy and free. The skin you're in with no apology. The one to seize the day. Grab an LLB. Live, love, be. With LLB. Live, love, be. Live, love, be. Be who you know you can be. Grab an LLB. Live, love, be. Angostura, lemon, lime and bitters. Live, love, be.
Maybe it's the way the brilliant gold liquid reflects our sunshine, or how the bright blue of its label mirrors the clear Caribbean skies overhead. Maybe it's the fresh, crisp taste of this beastly cold beer on a scorching hot day. Maybe it's even the way it brings us all together. But one thing is for sure, Carib is very much a part of who we are wherever we're from in the Caribbean. Carib, it's the way we play. Drink responsibly.
Protect your lifestyle with Caribbean Alliance Insurance. Till you walk with a local reputation and service for second to none. Securing you is our mission. People that you can trust, your business, property, we got you covered. Motor or personal, whatever it is, we got you covered. 130 years in this business, we got you covered. For all your insurance needs, visit or call us at 465-2631 or 469-5303. DLU Walwyn, people you can trust.
Shipping your cargo shouldn't be a hassle. It can be as easy as a single call to Amerijet International, your worldwide cargo transportation solution. We provide all the services you need to ship your goods anywhere in the world. Whether your shipment is fresh, frozen, large or small, alive or hazardous, you can count on Amerijet to deliver it safe and sound. Amerijet International, by land, sea or air. We get it there. For more information, visit us online at www.amerijet.com or call us at KDP Enterprises, telephone number 466-9595.
Did you know that the Grange Healthcare Facility is the first purpose-built non-governmental healthcare organization on St. Kitts, offering 24-hour nursing, therapeutic, and residential care for older adults? It's situated at Otley, 7 miles east of Vastair in beautifully landscaped surroundings. The Grange has a team of highly trained professionals and provides care that's rated as being comparable with UK and North American standards. The Grange offers varied accommodation to suit your individual needs, and our all-inclusive packages make the cost of care per hour the most competitive on the island. Services include convalescent care for all ages, daycare facilities for older adults, rehabilitation services, and training and continuing education for healthcare providers. For more information, call 466-5525 or 465-8020, fax 466-8221, or email thegrangehealth@gmail.com, or visit our website at www.grangehealthcarefacility.com.
WIN's Traffic Talk segment on the Monday, October 26th edition of Island Tea updated the public on the road construction in Bastille and the traffic management plans that are in place. Engineer at the Public Works Department, George Gilbert.
What we are concentrating on this week and for the next few weeks is the Wellington Road, Keyon Street area. That is from the airport roundabout to Camps roundabout. That's the roundabout just before Ram Supermarket, going into Camps there. That's corridor there. In that corridor, we have at least 5 contractors working there. We have the main contractor, which is Surrey Paving, who is actually taking up the asphaltic surface and also part of the base material and replacing it. We have Skelec, who are removing poles, relocating poles, and also we have The Cable, who are actually installing ducts on the roadway, underground. We have also Flo, who is actually working in the corridor too, and Water Department, who you would have seen coming down from the airport roundabout coming into Bastille.
He said another construction company is also working on constructing sidewalks.
We have another contractor, Prime Construction, who will be doing the sidewalks in the Wellington Road area coming through. So he's doing some survey as we speak to get into Bastille. So there are a number of activities happening into Bastille. One of the first things I want to say to the road users, if you don't have to use Keyon Street, Wellington Road, please use the F.T. Williams Highway or the Bay Road to get around that street. To those who park on Keyon Street, Wellington Road, anywhere along that corridor there during the day, we ask you to actually try to avoid parking on those streets because we want to have a free access of the road.
Engineer at Surrey Paving, Shay Claxton, offered timelines for completion of the various phases of construction along what she called the corridor.
So the first section, which is where we're currently working, that's from Camps Roundabout to Springfield Cemetery. We actually started working in that area sometime last week. We're almost finished. But the timeline for that, the proposed timeline, October 14th to the 28th. The second section will be from Springfield Cemetery to Westbourne Street. The proposed timeline, October 24th to October 31st. The third section, Westbourne Street to College Street. The proposed timeline for that section, November 9th to November 14th. The fourth section, College Street to 4th Street. Timeline, November 14th to November 21st. The fifth section, 4th Street to Baker's Corner, November 21st to November 28th. The sixth section, RLB Roundabout to the Public Works Garage, that's the Vehicle Maintenance Department, right after Skelec, from November 2nd to November 7th. From the Public Works Garage to Edward Lane, November 28th to December 5th. From Edward Lane, this is the 8th section now, Edward Lane to Baker's Corner, December 5th to December 12th.
The Royal St. Kitts Golf Club continues to press for the reopening of the 18-hole golf course in Frigate Bay that's reportedly managed by the Marriott Resort. The course was closed in March this year when the country shut its borders in response to the coronavirus pandemic. Hotels were shuttered and the authorities enforced mandatory lockdowns and curfews. As those measures were relaxed, golf was the first sport given the green light by health officials, who insisted that sports organizations comply with COVID-19 protocols, including social distancing. But the Royal St. Kitts Golf Course says its inquiries into the reopening of the golf course are not being answered by the government or the Marriott, and the facility is poorly maintained. Members of the Royal St. Kitts Golf Course, Darian Fleming and Zeke Percival, were guests on the Monday, October 26th broadcast of WIN's Island Tea, hosted by Kevon Hanley, Amali Armani, and Azim Bailey.
Yeah.
So has the executive made any efforts to reach out to the minister responsible for this?
Yes. We've met
to no avail as well?
Correct.
Okay. So
I won't, well, to no avail, because we had... If you look at the end result, yeah, the golf course has not been open.
So it's to no avail.
So to no avail. So not to efforts have been made.
He hasn't made any efforts.
Efforts have been made.
Okay.
But
so the meetings have happened and
Yeah.
Okay, but
right?
still no end result.
I suppose to one of the most frustrating things, as Zeke mentioned earlier, the golf course in Four Seasons has not closed down.
Mm-hmm.
Like if you're if you're a hotelier, you look at your competition. You look at who you're trying to compete against. Between the federation, it's either Marriott or the Four Seasons in terms of what the top hotels and between the two countries are. But
I don't think there's a comparison. But okay.
Yeah.
Right.
but so Four Seasons has a golf course. They have the same issues that the golf course here has in terms of money, pumping money and what's not. Go to Four Seasons and look at the golf course over there with
Pristine.
less staff,
manicured,
with less staff.
I mean, your job
than
is
the
sandwich,
staff
you want
over
to
here.
eat it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
It's a big difference.
So
it's either you get it or the monkeys get it first.
Yeah,
Eh?
exactly. Yeah, correct. Yeah. So that's from where we sit. It's really mind-boggling to see things sort of going.
I'm gonna be honest here. I think that it seems to me that the government is not adverse to the golf course opening. It seems like the reason the golf course is not opening is based on a decision that's taken by Marriott. That's what it seems like from what I'm hearing. I could be wrong. No, if that is the case, I would have to also assume that it's a money issue. A lot of the benefits that we are listing out, right, are things that impact the country on a whole, right, and not necessarily Marriott. Marriott may benefit from persons staying there as they come, and so maybe they see this as maybe more of a cost than something that they would make money on, and perhaps that is what's driving the thing. It might just be simply a money thing.
Yeah, that's have a lot to do with it. But remember that the government is paying for the maintenance.
Right.
All the workers over there now, the government is paying for the whole maintenance.
Mm-hmm.
So Marriott is not paying for any maintenance at all. But you're right. It's a lot about money.
The benefit.
They're not seeing it. They're getting it, but they're not seeing it.
Wynn contacted the Marriott Resort on Monday and was informed that the golf course will reopen when the hotel reopens for business. The St. Kitts and Nevis borders are rescheduled for opening on Saturday, October 31st. Wynn reached out to the Frigate Bay Development Corporation for comment on this issue, but there was no response at news time Monday morning. The Royal St. Kitts opened in 1976, closed for renovation in 2002. The first holes were open for golf in 2003 and the full 18-hole facility in November of 2004.
This is the Carib Update News Service. I'm Wendy Chateau reporting. St. Vincent said to be making allowance for a special window for people in quarantine to vote. This is the big story we're tracking this hour on Monday, October 26, 2020. Details of this story and more straight ahead. Now for the details. St. Vincent and the Grenadines Prime Minister Dr. Ralph Gonsalves say that Cabinet will, this week, pass a statutory rule and order declaring a time slot for persons in quarantine to vote on Election Day, November 5. Gonsalves told a campaign event that the final half hour of scheduled voting on Election Day could be allocated for people in quarantine. The Health Services, a subcommittee on the National Emergency Management Organization, NEMO, has said in a statement that the Supervisor of Elections and the Attorney General were in discussions in relation to the specific time for voters in quarantine to show up at the polls. It said that leaders of all political parties participating in the November 5 general elections will discuss and seek to agree on the health protocol for the conduct of the elections. Jamaica recorded 44 new cases of COVID-19 in the last 24 hours, bringing the total number of positive cases to 8,714. The death toll also increased to 188 after 2 additional virus-related deaths were recorded. The country also recorded 73 recoveries, bringing the total number of recoveries to 4,282. Dominica may consider new measures to help it manage the COVID-19 pandemic amidst some official worry there that many people are beginning to let their guards down. Speaking on his television show Sunday night, Prime Minister Roosevelt Skerrit suggested that making wearing of masks mandatory may come under consideration at Tuesday's cabinet meeting.
Now, if we do not voluntarily take action and adhere to the protocols and the guidelines, then the government will have no choice but to make all of these things mandatory and to seek parliamentary approval to have certain impositions on our activities and our behavior in the public.
While Dominica has been hailed for its management of the crisis, Prime Minister Skerrit worries that complacency is setting in.
Now, we all agree that we have managed the COVID situation pretty well in our country. But that we've always maintained should not be a reason for us to behave as if COVID-19 is over and gone.
He said people have increasingly continued to disregard established protocols.
Now, we all agree that we have managed the COVID situation pretty well in our country. But that we've always maintained should not be a reason for us to behave as if COVID-19 is over and gone.
In announcing 3 new cases on the weekend, Health Minister Irvin McIntyre made an appeal for greater public vigilance. There are now 9 active cases on the island.
We recognize that we are in a festive season that is celebrating our independence, and several mass gatherings have been planned. However, based on the protocols which we have been outlined by the Ministry of Health, community transmission could be imminent if these protocols are not complied with.
While still in Dominica, the parliament there is Monday considering a bill that in effect will lead to the decriminalization of marijuana. The bill is down for consideration at the scheduled meeting that starts 10 a.m. Under the amended act, people with 28 grams or less of marijuana will no longer be prosecuted.
This is all part of a justice reform program that people who are in possession of 28 grams or less, that they will not be charged and prosecuted, and these things can be on their records for the rest of their lives. So we're going to Parliament to have an amendment to this act, and to allow people to be able to have in their possession and for the use for religious purposes and other purposes 28 grams of marijuana.
Dominica's Prime Minister Roosevelt Skerrit. This is Newsbreak from the Carib Update News Service. In more news, the former minister of a Connecticut church who was convicted of repeatedly raping a girl beginning when she was 6 years old has been sentenced to 30 years in prison. The pastor is said to be Jamaican. Oran Cole, 45, continued to maintain his innocence during the sentencing. Prosecutors said Cole, a former minister at a Bridgeport church, began raping the girl when she was in kindergarten, and the assaults continued until 2017 when she was a teenager. A jury convicted him of 3 counts of first-degree sexual assault in March. After prison, Cole will be on probation for 30 years and must register as a sex offender for the rest of his life. His public defender, Bradford Butcher, said Cole is a Jamaican citizen and likely would face deportation after prison. This has been another edition of Newsbreak from the Carib Update News Service, the Caribbean's newsroom. Reporting this hour, I am Wendy Chateau.
BBC News. Hello, I'm Tom Watts. Russian airstrikes in northern Syria are reported to have killed around 80 Turkish-backed militia fighters in the mainly rebel-held province of Idlib. In a significant escalation in the conflict in northern Syria, many other fighters from the Failuk Sham militia were wounded when their training base was targeted. Sebastian Asher reports.
Images of the aftermath of the airstrike show bodies wrapped in blankets strewn on the ground. This appears to have been very much a targeted attack on one of the main rebel factions, Failuk al-Sham, that forms part of a Turkish-backed force in Idlib. As such, it seems to represent a significant escalation by Russia and by extension President Assad, which could presage a new offensive in the province. In recent weeks, pro-government airstrikes have begun to increase in intensity, while Turkey has started to reduce its military presence in the area.
More than 160 people have been detained in Belarus as workers and students across the country join a national strike called by opposition forces. It comes a day after an ultimatum expired for Alexander Lukashenko to resign as president. Sarah Rainsford reports.
Social media accounts are full of images of crowds on picket lines outside state factories. Some private companies have also joined the strike. Everyone from hairdressers to pizza delivery firms closing their doors. It's all part of a renewed push by Belarusian opposition forces trying to increase the pressure on Alexander Lukashenko to step down as president, a demand he's defied so far thanks to the continuing loyalty of his security forces. The opposition want to cripple the economy with their strike action, but it's not yet clear how big the take-up has actually been from state workers who face the real risk of losing their jobs if they join the walkout.
Thousands of protesters in the Thai capital, Bangkok, have marched to the German embassy to call on Berlin to investigate the activities of Thailand's king when he visits Germany. Student-led protests have been gathering steam for months, with demonstrators demanding Thailand's powerful monarchy be more accountable to the people. The Japanese Prime Minister has pledged his country will cut greenhouse gases to zero by 2050 to become carbon neutral. Yoshihide Suga's position represents a major shift for the world's third largest economy, as Celia Hatton explains.
Long criticized for its lukewarm efforts to combat climate change, Japan is the world's sixth biggest contributor to greenhouse gas emissions. Prime Minister Yoshihide Suga said Japan needed to shift away from old thinking that assertive measures on climate change constrained economic growth. He said Japan would embrace innovation to reach its goals, including next-generation solar batteries, while also boosting the use of renewable energy and solar power. This was Yoshihide Suga's first policy speech, an indication of the importance he places on the issue.
World news from the BBC. The United Nations says rich countries are dumping millions of highly polluting used cars on poorer nations. An investigation by the UN Environment Programme found that between 2015 and 2018, 14 million old, poor-quality vehicles were exported from Europe, the US and Japan. More than 40% of them went to Africa. French health authorities say the country may be getting 100,000 new COVID-19 cases per day, twice the official figure. The statement by the head of France's Scientific Council, Jean-François Delfrécy, came as the body is considering whether to tighten measures further. Hugh Schofield reports.
Things are bad, but that doesn't mean they can't get worse. That was the gist of Mr. Delfrécy's message as he warned the French that the current health regime could well get tougher. We foresaw this second wave, he told French radio, but we've been taken by surprise by its brutality. Most people still don't understand what's coming. Mr. Delfrécy said one option for the government was a wider and longer curfew, and another was a return to lockdown, as in March.
The Turkish President Recep Tayyip Erdogan has called on his people to boycott French products. He's also urged the EU to curb what he says is his French counterpart's anti-Islam agenda. It's a deepening row with President Macron, who has defended his country's secular traditions since an Islamist beheaded a French teacher this month for showing his people's cartoons of the Prophet Muhammad. Last week, Mr. Erdogan questioned Mr. Macron's mental health, saying he had a problem with Islam. The Duke of Sussex has admitted that his privileged upbringing as a member of Britain's royal family meant he had no understanding of unconscious racial bias. Prince Harry said it took him many years and the experience of living in his wife Meghan's shoes to recognise the issue. He made the remark during a video call to a Black Lives Matter supporter. BBC News.
That was the Win FM Headline News, brought to you by KDP Enterprises, Caribbean Alliance, Carib Brewery, CNC Trading, The Grange.
Did you know that the Grange Healthcare Facility is the first purpose-built non-governmental healthcare organization on St. Kitts, offering 24-hour nursing, therapeutic and residential care for older adults? It's situated at Otley, 7 miles east of Vastair in beautifully landscaped surroundings. The Grange has a team of highly trained professionals and provides care that's rated as being comparable with UK and North American standards. The Grange offers varied accommodation to suit your individual needs, and our all-inclusive packages make the cost of care per hour the most competitive on the island. Services include convalescent care for all ages, daycare facilities for older adults, rehabilitation services, and training and continuing education for healthcare providers. For more information, call 466-5525 or 465-8020, fax 466-8221, or email thegrangehealth@gmail.com, or visit our website at www.grangehealthcarefacility.com.
Shipping your cargo shouldn't be a hassle. It can be as easy as a single call to Amerijet International, your worldwide cargo transportation solution. We provide all the services you need to ship your goods anywhere in the world. Whether your shipment is fresh, frozen, large or small, alive or hazardous, you can count on Amerijet to deliver it safe and sound. Amerijet International, by land, sea or air. We get it there. For more information, visit us online at www.amerijet.com or call us at KDP Enterprises, telephone number 466-9595.
Protect your lifestyle with Caribbean Alliance Insurance. Dealing well with a low reputation and service for second to none. Securing you is our mission. People that you can trust, your business, property, we got you covered. Motor or personal, whatever it is, we got you covered. 130 years in this business, we've got you covered. For all your insurance needs, visit or call us at 465-2631 or 469-5303. Dealey Walwyn, people you can trust.
Maybe it's the way the brilliant gold liquid reflects our sunshine, or how the bright blue of its label mirrors the clear Caribbean skies overhead. Maybe it's the fresh, crisp taste of this beastly cold beer on a scorching hot day. Maybe it's even the way it brings us all together. But one thing is for sure, Carib is very much a part of who we are wherever we're from in the Caribbean. Carib, it's the way we play. Drink responsibly.
Without limits, happy and free. The skin you're in with no apology. The one to seize the day. Grab an LLB. Live, love, be. With LLB. Live, love, be. Live, love, be. Be who you know you can be. Grab an LLB. Live, love, be. Angostura, lemon, lime, and bitters. Live, love, be.
We're different. We're 98.9. 98.9. Win FM.
That means we're back. After the midday newscast and with the report, we're back in the studios of WinFM. Just about to begin the second episode of Voices. My name is Socrates, your day's host. And we've had in the studios with us, of course, the one and only Ras Kalonji. We had some very spirited arguments this morning. And we started out on the topic of having observers observe the U.S. elections with a letter from His Excellency Sir Antonio Guterres, which was read by Ras Kalonji, and that sparked off various aspects of that conversation. So we would like to continue along those veins. And if anyone who is listening this morning and would like to continue to make their contributions, the numbers to call are 466-0989, 662-0989, 762-0989. Then from the overseas line, we've got 718-785-6948, 508-921-4619, and from the UK, we've got 0333-044-0065. I'm going to suggest that maybe the reason why New York Joe hasn't called, he may be in the queue trying to vote. Who knows? Well, I want to say good afternoon to all our listeners and welcome back to the program. And where were we when we worked for the Newsline? You mentioned that there was a letter from Malcolm X.
No, a clip.
A clip?
Yeah. We want to play the clip, Malcolm X, the ballot or the bullet.
Okay. How are we going to play it? Is he queued up?
Yeah, he should have
You're
it.
way ahead of me.
Yeah.
This mask is killing me, man.
Fooling ourselves if we had an audience this large and didn't realize that there were some enemies present. This afternoon we want to talk about the ballot or the bullet. The ballot or the bullet explains itself. But before we get into it, since this is the year of the ballot or the bullet, I would like to clarify some things that refer to me personally concerning my own personal position. I'm still a Muslim. That is, my religion is still Islam. My religion is still Islam. I still credit Mr. Muhammad for what I know and what I am. He's the one who opened my eyes. And at present, I'm the minister of the newly founded Muslim Mosque Incorporated, which has its offices in the Teresa Hotel right in the heart of Harlem. That's the Black Belt in New York City. And when we realize that Adam Clayton Powell is a Christian minister, he has the Abyssinia Baptist Church, but at the same time he's more famous for his political struggling. And Dr. King is a Christian minister from Atlanta, Georgia, or in Atlanta, Georgia, but he's become more famous for being involved in the civil rights struggle. There's another in New York, Reverend Galamison. I don't know if you've heard of him out here. He's a Christian minister from Brooklyn, but has become famous for his fight against the segregated school system in Brooklyn. Reverend Cleage, right here, is a Christian minister here in Detroit. He's the head of the Freedom Now Party. All of these are Christian ministers. All of these are Christian ministers, but they don't come to us as Christian ministers. They come to us as fighters in some other category. I'm a Muslim minister. The same as they are Christian ministers, I'm a Muslim minister. And I don't believe in fighting today in any one front, but on all fronts. In fact, I'm a black nationalist freedom fighter. Islam is my religion, but I believe my religion is my personal business. It governs my personal life, my personal morals. And my religious philosophy is personal between me and the God in whom I believe. Just as the religious philosophy of these others is between them and the God in whom they believe. And this is best this way. Were we to come out here discussing religion, we'd have too many differences from the outstart, and we could never get together. So today, though Islam is my religious philosophy, my political, economic, and social philosophy is black nationalism. You and I As I say, if we bring up religion, we'll have differences, we'll have arguments, we'll never be able to get together. But if we keep our religion at home, keep our religion in the closet, keep our religion between ourselves and our God, but when we come out here, we have a fight that's common to all of us against the enemy who is common to all of us. The political philosophy of black nationalism only means that the black man should control the politics and the politicians in his own community. The time when white people can come in our community and get us to vote for them so that they can be our political leaders and tell us what to do and what not to do is long gone. By the same token, the time when that same white man, knowing that your eyes are too far open, can send another Negro into the community, get you and me to support him so he can use him to lead us astray, those days are long gone. The political philosophy of black nationalism only means that if you and I are going to live in a black community, and that's where we're going to live, because as soon as you move into one of their, as soon as you move out of the black community into their community, it's mixed for a period of time, but they're gone, and you're right there all by yourself. We must understand the politics of our community, and we must know what politics is supposed to produce. We must know what part politics play in our lives. And until we become politically mature, we will always be misled, led astray, or deceived or maneuvered into supporting someone politically who doesn't have the good of our community at heart. So the political philosophy of black nationalism only means that we will have to carry on a program, a political program of re-education, to open our people's eyes, make us become more politically conscious, politically mature. And then we will, whenever we get ready to cast our ballot, that ballot will be cast for a man of the community who has the good of the community at heart. And the economic philosophy of black nationalism only means that we should own and operate and control the economy of our community. You would never find, you can't open up a black store in a white community. White man won't even patronize you. And he's not wrong. He got sense enough to look out for himself. And it's you who don't have sense enough to look out for yourself. The white man is too intelligent to let someone else come and gain control of the economy of his community. But you will let anybody come in and control the economy of your community, control the housing, control the education, control the jobs, control the businesses under the pretext that you want to integrate. No, you're out of your mind. The economic philosophy of black nationalism only means that we have to become involved in a program of re-education to educate our people into the importance of knowing that when you spend your dollar out of the community in which you live, the community in which you spend your money becomes richer and richer. The community out of which you take your money becomes poorer and poorer. And because these Negroes who have been misled, misguided, are breaking their necks to take their money and spend it with the man. The man is becoming richer and richer, and you're becoming poorer and poorer. And then what happens? The community in which you live becomes a slum. It becomes a ghetto. The conditions become run down. And then you have the audacity to complain about poor housing in a run-down community. Why, you run it down yourself when you take your dollar out. And you and I are in a double trap. Because not only do we lose by taking our money someplace else and spending it, when we try and spend it in our own community, we're trapped because we haven't had sense enough to set up stores and control the businesses of our community. The man who's controlling the stores in our community is a man who doesn't look like we do. He's a man who doesn't even live in the community. So you and I, even when we try and spend our money in the block where we live or the area where we live, we're spending it with a man who, when the sun goes down, takes that basket full of money in another part of the town. So we're trapped, double trapped, triple trapped. Anywhere we go, we find that we're trapped. And every kind of solution that someone comes up with is just another trap. But the political and economic philosophy of black nationalism, the economic philosophy of black nationalism shows our people the importance of setting up these little stores and developing them and expanding them into larger operations. Woolworth didn't start out big like they are today. They started out with a dime store. And expanded and expanded and expanded until today they're all over the country and all over the world, and they're getting some of everybody's money. Now this, what you and I in General Motors, the same way, didn't start out like it is. It started out just a little rat race type operation. And it expanded and expanded until today it's where it is right now. And you and I have to make a start. And the best place to start is right in the community where we live. So our people not only have to be re-educated to the importance of supporting black business, but the black man himself has to be made aware of the importance of going into business. And once you and I go into business, we own and operate at least the businesses in our community. What we will be doing is developing a situation wherein we will actually be able to create employment for the people in the community. And once you can create some employment in the community where you live, it will eliminate the necessity of you and me having to act ignorantly and disgracefully.
One question before we go to the break. Ras Kalonji, that was recorded in what year?
I think 1964.
1964, we're in 2000, so that's how many years ago?
More than 40 years ago.
Okay.
50 years ago.
Before we go to commentary, we're going to pause for a word from our kind sponsors, and we come back and we open the debate on this one. So, word from our sponsors, and we'll be right back.
It's the Hartsford's Building Center's very good electrical and plumbing fixture sales event happening now until October 31st. All electrical and plumbing fittings will be discounted by 25%. That's right, 25% off all electrical and plumbing fixtures happening now until October 31st. The very good electrical and plumbing fixture sales event at Hartsford's Building Centers on St. Kitts and Nevis. Very good products, very good prices, very good discounts on all electrical and plumbing fixtures at Hartsford's Building and Nevis Centers happening now. This is very good. See store for details.
We are back and we go straight to the phone lines. Call, welcome to Voices.
Hey, good afternoon, Socrates.
How art thou?
Well, good afternoon, Kalonji.
Yes, good afternoon, Sylvia.
That's the best thing I hear for a while.
Okay. Beautiful.
Yes. What is the title so I can find it on my YouTube?
With Malcolm X?
Yes.
The ballot or the bullet?
The ballot or the bullet?
Yeah.
Now, a lot of what you say is very instructive, you know. Let me start as a Christian, you see, because a lot of people, Mr. Henry, what kind of Christian? If you will listen, you will hear it is Christians who have been taking the fight, you know, for social justice.
Dr. King was a Christian?
A pastor. And even as Malcolm X said, a number of them were there in the front of the struggle were pastors. I don't know where we get this backward thinking down here that you must have sit down in the corner, sing him and say, as you sank and said, our Father. The onus is on Christians to speak up for social justice. Now he made an important point, the one about investing, how we save and how we invest. You know what beat me in this country? We have so-called sensible people who would get on the radio and lament, so-and-so ain't bringing in a hotel. And they ain't bring the foreign direct investment, nobody black. You know this?
That's correct. And much of what he described back then...
They have Nigerians got money, you know. Not one black investor they're bringing in. And they're boasting, oh, we brought in. What do we own? We don't own one share.
In those corporations?
Even one share in all of the foreign direct investment that people boast that they bring. Or that they're looking for. Just pushing us further and further into the back. Look what we have in the retail business. I have nothing against anybody, eh? No nation. I have nothing against the Chinese. But the action of Dr. Denzel Douglas in inviting them to come in here, in a sector that was already flooded, in which our people have been operating since emancipation, before emancipation. It's like what he has done is similar to bringing in Woolworth and Kmart and all the mart into St. Kitts. Whenever the giants move in, they kill the mom and the pop stores.
That is true. It's evident in just about every community in the Federation.
Yeah, I am telling you. And when I protested, oh, you know, they're not foreigners, they're citizens. But if you people are ready...
We're first citizens. We have now become second-class citizens in that context.
I'm telling you. And they got the nerve. What you sensible people, you know. Oh, what foreign direct investment you bring in since the election. And, you know, as if bringing in somebody to dominate us is a plus. It's a plus.
And the fact that they don't employ anyone local. They don't employ locals
Not
at all.
even they employ. What positions we hold?
Clean the glasses, sweep up the floor, that's it.
You know, I mean,
They
we
can up
have the
employment.
hotels what we own. When the tax period finish, they turn it over to their friends, and the country still can't get the tax.
They continue again.
And the enterprise continues under a different name. That's what it is, you know.
Mm-hmm.
That's what it is. So when I hear our people talking about, and they want foreign direct investment, and we're going to get work, that's all we're getting. That's all we are getting. And our people don't get it. They don't want to support their own. They're passing you. You're selling your thing, and somebody else, a foreign investor come in. Not of your kind, you know. I am not prejudiced. Let me say it. But I am saying it's time enough our people wake up. Wake up and support your own. You build your economy because, remember, you know, who will depend on economic power decides who rule, you know.
That's true.
Not numbers. Numbers don't mean nothing. Numbers mean plenty cheap labor. It is who is at the top of the economic. We're not there. You have the Indians there, Ramzan, then Kawada, them the Syrians. You go to the list like that.
So it's always been this way.
Against them.
Mm-hmm.
But our people still have not reached the top in those enterprises, you know.
We just add another element in the last of the investors.
Yeah, so, but you know, our people, we don't think. So, but Kalonji, let me get to you now. You're encouraging people, this thing about the Africans. So, how many nations in Africa would welcome our people from the West? I'll tell you why. You will recall with Marcus Garvey and so, a number of black Americans went to Liberia. You recall it, right?
Yeah, exactly.
And they walk with their Western ideologies and thinking, and saw themselves, as many of us do, as being superior to the native African.
Yeah, that is true, but you must remember...
Wait, man, give me a chance.
Okay.
So you want to send more oppression into Africa. I have said a long time ago, they could work with CARICOM, because all of us, whether we like it or not, we have been educated in a Western system. That is how we think. Even Malcolm X, it's only when he went to the Mecca, he understood something. And even then, he was trained, born and raised as a Westerner. That is why you find you have one set of Muslims, next set of Muslims. They
Different indoctrinations.
Yeah. Not only nations, those from the West.
That's indoctrinations.
Yes. You know, so sometimes when I hear people saying, oh, we should go African thing and so, what are we going to do? We're going to impose or to integrate?
No, we're not. No, well, we're going to assist in terms of our knowledge,
You see what I mean? They
not
ask
being
you?
better, not being better than them. But
They
what
ask
I'm
you?
saying to you is that we'll always have people with those kind of baggages. But remember, the people who went to Liberia, right, is the United States government is the one who destroyed the project in
The black
Liberia.
face the truth, the blacks who came from America or who went into Liberia take over the people country. That's the truth.
Well, some of them was from Barbados also.
The blacks from America and Caribbean roots, they went in and they took over the people country. I say it all the time. It is better to work. They got the OAU and you have CARICOM, right? If you want to do anything,
Work through those agencies.
you can provide expertise, consultants and so. But I don't, after Liberia, I don't back sending in a lot of Western black people into Africa to go and dominate. It's bad enough white people dominating them. It's bad enough the Chinese doing it. You're sending some Western black people to do the same thing. If you're going in, you must go in as a specialist. There are enough poor people. They don't want no more poor. Rasta sorry for you, but Ethiopia looking for no more people to feed it.
But what we are saying now,
You're saying?
those who want to repatriate to Africa, that's fine. But we are saying that
they must have some skill that Africa needs. Don't they go flood the people country?
No, but basically, yeah, I agree with that. But what I'm saying to you now, as we are facing a global pandemic. We are global people, so we could link up doing trade, politically and otherwise.
You could trade without going.
Yeah, and economically. So what I'm trying to show you now, we need a philosophy of Pan-Africanism where we link all our struggles together in order to move forward as one unit.
Yeah, but it's more than our struggles, We got to get this struggle thing serious. You got to understand the struggle. The struggle is along religious lines in Africa. It's Islam against Christians.
That is true.
In certain parts.
In a lot of Africa, in North Africa and so.
Yeah, in
All
North
Nigeria.
Africa. But what I'm saying, in south of the Sahara, is not religion.
It's what?
It's more political.
Hello. There's no person on the earth without a religion. Don't give me that.
No, I'm not talking in the sense that it is in North Africa. We are even in the Sudan. Because take the Sudan as a country. The Sudan was the first African country to be independent before Ghana. But the problem in Sudan, where you had South Sudan now and the rest of Sudan, is that the Africans who are into Islam, they think that they're Arabs.
You see, that's the point. You're trying, they don't convince, because when I look at the map, I say, well, I didn't even realize that all these people up here are Africans. If they don't see themselves as Africans,
how we
and
going to
in
convince
Sudan, they were enslaving
the Africans?
people in South Sudan.
Exactly.
Doing all kind of things. So how can you see, sometimes we got to be real. At what point will the Muslim world and the Christian world meet and cooperate?
Yeah, but if
the religion is to wipe out somebody as well.
Each other, actually.
Okay,
To
wait.
wipe out.
Okay, so you're saying Islam is to wipe out?
Hello. Then the heathen and the whatever.
But the Christians,
India,
the white Christians said that too.
A lot of them did it. The book ain't said that. They did it.
But that's what they practice.
But when we got it done with that, what I'm saying, you're moving along the wrong line.
Yeah, but what I'm saying, you just can't put it on Islam itself because the Christian did it, the Crusades.
Yeah, of course, well, we can, the Catholic Church, you mean? The Catholic Church. What I'm saying is this, right? When you're asking and encouraging people, I embrace Africa. You could embrace them philosophically, right? But when it comes to just going back to the people country, as much as we are Pan-Africanists, it is their country. The country we have is very live, very bad. We should be thinking...
I don't subscribe to that in the sense that... In the sense that... Okay.
That is
take the Rastafarian movement.
Between me and my God.
The Rastafarian movement believes in repatriation.
To where? Where they come from?
Any part of Africa. Ethiopia in particular.
Any part of Africa don't want them.
No, you can't say that. Because you don't know the history. Because, for instance...
You're Muslim then.
No, but...
You're a Muslim country. Now, let me get to the next point, because I don't want to tell you a thing. What I'm saying, even Haiti, I said the same thing. Carry come get all these brains, all these graduates, all these things and so. We out here balling, we sorry for Haiti.
Overlook Haiti.
Sending consultants and expertise. Haiti. That's what we need to do, You want to help Africa? Our societies are more organized, not culturally, because their religion and their clan and so got them there. But we have all of these, lot of consultants and engineers and so, knocking all dog and things. Everybody's doctor, everybody's engineer, architect. We have diplomatic relations with a lot of them. Why don't we offer ourselves? Some of them were English colonies. That is what the people want. They want a lot of people, poor people come in the country, come go, end up on the social services thing.
But Miss Henry, I think you're missing a point. Remember President Aristide was kidnapped,
So what?
Because of his political position. So what I'm saying to you, the people who rule and control Haiti, they don't want our assistance in that manner.
They think a CARICOM,
I understand that.
But to me, CARICOM is not doing enough. They need to send more expertise in there to help them organize the You don't think they will feel better than every time they look some white troop. Well-meaning people going in trying to help them. They might get some more self-respect.
But they have self-respect. But what I'm saying to you is the political structure in Haiti is the problem.
So what are we going to do? Disassemble it?
Well, they're going to have to fight against it because...
Who's behind
when it's a continuing struggle because the people...
You're going to develop a country if you are under strife. Somebody need to explain that to them.
Who created the strife?
How can you develop a country if every time you put up somebody...
That is orchestrated.
That's what I'm saying, Miss Henry. You're not looking at that part.
Purpose.
So let me ask you again. So nobody could explain that to nobody.
Aristide was doing that. They took him out.
You could do it. How come no Caribbean leader, no Caribbean caucus, no nothing, no black caucus could get that point across to them?
But they understand it. But what I'm saying that the forces...
They understand your practice.
That is why they rebel about what they get, what they're given. Aristide was there to rebel, and they took him out.
It's time to be rebuilding.
No, Miss Henry, you're missing the point in the sense that you got to look at the United States. The United States invaded Haiti in 1915.
They did not leave.
Exactly. So what I'm saying, the influence is still there.
They know everybody country, but it is what your people understand. It's time enough for them to begin to understand that all they're doing is keeping themselves down.
They're not keeping themselves down because President Aristide was elected democratically. But it's the masses of people that elected him.
Before the day is done, I want to share two stories.
Anyway, let me come after somebody else. Because Henry tie up the line.
As usual. Well, we love your contributions. So, we're educators just about every time, so not a problem there. Okay, let me respond to her because I want to share two stories.
Yeah.
That could be relevant to this whole current debate. But go ahead.
But okay. Miss Henry is making certain points, right? But she's forgetting imperialism. Mm-hmm. I mean, we see it happening everywhere. Every time we get a leader that is trying to uplift our people, right? Mm-hmm. The forces of destruction, imperialism come in and undermine the process. And when we are saying, the Haitians are always in rebellion, They have to be in rebellion because every time they try to settle down, Babylon system, the imperialist forces, the United States in particular, disrupt the process. And that's the point I was making to the brother, that our struggle is one and the same. The United States was responsible for the destruction of the Grenadian Revolution. The United States was responsible for killing Fred Hampton.
They also had the Sisters of CARICOM.
Exactly. But what I'm saying...
James Junior Charles, and who was with Reagan and them, and they went in, they gave them authority. It was sanctioned by them, so to speak.
Exactly. But what I'm saying, it was orchestrated by the United States.
Of course.
They just fall in line. So what I'm saying, when we're talking about the problems of our people, you got to look at the man, the snake in the grass. Because he's everywhere. Because another point again, Brother Socrates, when Nelson Mandela was captured in South Africa, was the United States government, the CIA in particular, who gave the security forces in South Africa the location of Nelson Mandela. And Nelson Mandela was a terrorist before
Branded.
bin Laden.
Branded.
Exactly.
Okay, let's go to the phone lines. Caller 11 Voices.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon once again.
Yes, let me say quickly. Religious people, they are not going to understand what is happening because they are indoctrinated in the ways of the heathen. I know I was one. You couldn't talk to me prior to these things. Trust me. We dumb. We can't see anything else. It's like we have blinders on. It's the way we are indoctrinated. The only how we are going to be free from this mentality
is to re-educate.
Is that right, and you have to reach out to the Creator. He is the one who's going to guide you. All right? And this thing about CARICOM and helping Haiti, correct me if I'm wrong. When the earthquake passed, when they gave Haiti the earthquake, or when Haiti was given the earthquake, didn't it say that ships with persons from CARICOM countries went to Haiti to help that country, but they were barred from entering. They had to remain out on the sea for some days, as some people would say. That is to ensure that sufficient number of people in Haiti died so that they can get the help. You can answer when I get off, okay? Now, the next thing I would like to say, every originality has a counterfeit or a substitute at best. The substitute for spirituality is Christianity. That is the counterfeit. Okay? Everything has its thing. And they are the original Muslim, and they have a counterfeit Muslim. The counterfeit Muslim is the one that is causing the problem. But remember, it is designed so that the entire Muslim body be given the blame. But if you have to look at the lifestyle of the Muslims and so on, they put the true Muslim I'm talking about, they put Christian thing to shame. To shame. You look at the way that Christians behave. Look at the way that they behave and how they dress or how they eat. And you're going to tell me that they are of the Creator? Now, I would agree in Africa, I don't think every country in Africa will accept dark-skinned people because you have to understand the northern part of Africa has been divided strategically, and they have included that to be part of the Middle East. So a lot of people don't even know that Morocco and Tunisia and all of them up there is part of Africa. Yes. And these people up there were deliberately blended out or mixed out. So you have a different complexion of people who hate the dark-skinned people. A lot of these, they are the fake Muslims. They are the ones who wreaking a lot of havoc in Sudan and some other places. They're not going to accept that dark-skinned people. So the whole continent there is messed up in so many ways. Okay? And another thing, your last caller talked about Mr. Denzel Douglas and the Chinese and bringing them in and so on. Okay, fine. Agree. But what I want to know is, has it stopped since 2015?
No.
Has the expansion of their supermarkets stopped since 2015, or is it ongoing?
Ongoing.
So, when we are going to talk like this, I mean, we have to look at the whole picture. You have to look broader. I agree with what she said because I have been saying it all along. This thing about foreign investment and all of that. All of them speak like that. And this is one thing that I hate to hear, because investment does not always have to be foreign. There are people here who can invest, but if they will be given the chance, we don't know. We really don't know. Okay? Because there's a lot of blockages. Because just like what you see is happening outside in the broader world, so to speak, it's happening here still. It's the same mentality throughout, you know. It's the same mentality that a lot of our people still running on high today. And finally, the clip, Malcolm X. Has anybody heard anything there has been said by him that you can say that is anti-anybody else?
No.
What is it that he has said that is wrong? I haven't heard anything that has said but it's wrong. But look at what has happened. This is the same guy and his messages that we have been brainwashed so terribly that even up to today, we don't even remember his birthday. You hear any one of us talk about Malcolm X? You hear mostly about Martin Luther King. Why? It's not because his speeches were so great, but it's because he played into the hands of the white supremacist ideologies.
How he was sold to us.
Sorry?
It was how he was sold to us.
Yes.
The image.
And only one thing they present to us with what he said, I have a dream. What about his other speeches? And what about the speech when eventually he realized what was happening? Because when he's talking about non-violence, okay? And he said, well, I mean, we are non-violent, but they still set the dogs on us. They still beat up our heads with clubs, split our head open, hose us down, gun us down, and we are non-violent. And there was a speech where he said he felt like he was leading his people into a burning house. How many of us is been hear that? We don't hear it. It is kept away from us. But with Malcolm X now, when, as he said, he agreed. For the white community, you don't allow anybody else to come into community because they have to be fools and so on to allow that. The same thing with everybody else. So if you say black should allow it, he is racist. This is how people look at it, you know. He is racist. So his speech is what is helping to educate us. But this is what they don't want us to know about. They don't want us to hear it. So they brand him as a revolutionary, as a this, as a that, as a Tara and the other. And that's it. But we need to become informed, and I can go back to what Hosea 4:6 says. Whether we believe the Bible or not, I keep saying it, this is not the issue. This is not the point of debate. A lot of things have been said inside. They make a lot of sense. Principle-wise, it makes a lot of sense. Hosea 4:6 says, my people are destroyed for a lack of knowledge because they reject knowledge. It's not because there's an absence, but because they reject it.
Because just...
But it also say, the Bible also say that in the last days, knowledge shall increase. So all of the information that is hidden from us, it will come to light. And it's going to take the hands of those who are against us to bring the information out. And like I always said, they won't be doing anything for us. So don't say, oh, it's a pink, oh, it's pink and it's purple, and look, they're still giving us the information. No, they have to give it up. It has to be given up. It must be released. And it's not of their doing, but they cannot stop it. I'll continue to listen.
Okay, thank you. I was going to say just about everything that was heard in that speech is still very relevant today. We can recognize all the what he described as happening there, happening here also.
And all what was discussed and what Miss Henry said, we acknowledge, and what the sister just said.
Yep.
So we are saying now at this present dispensation, we deal with the 7 principles of Kwanzaa, which is Umoja, right? Ujama, cooperative economics, to build and maintain our stores, shops, and other businesses, and to profit from them together.
Well, let's take the caller because, and then we can let you continue after break. Take the caller.
Socrates, good afternoon. Ras Kalonji,
yes, sir.
Prophet.
Greetings.
Socrates,
sir.
It's nice to hear this history in them talk, but when you ain't got a piece of black in you, as the reggae star say, who no black, now no black again, you know. These Caribbean black people, if they're not black, they ain't gonna black again, you know, man. I don't understand. Now a Christian, your last caller, just talk about the Chinese. That Christian don't seem to understand what Denzel Douglas do. And he feel he get away with it, you know. So when she's trying to compare These fellas on Church Street with Denzel. Take a drive over the Southeast Peninsula, my darling, and see what that guy has done over there. Rob poor people land. Take we land away from them. Paid land, that's a beard, a Newton man, a born Newton man. Can't develop and give poor people in Newton work. He take the land away and give it to a investor.
I think the matter is still before the court, jam down. I think the matter is still unsettled before the courts.
Yeah, the matter in the court, but that's
So let's not go with the robbing because you don't want to give it a matter before the courts.
Oh, Chinese, he come and sign agreement. I hear he in the media talking about this. They citizens and we got to compete with them. What did them go do? Where they go do? Get the thing and make it look like you're fighting them down to get something. So it was hands and hands with the people them. Look why he out here Posante. The first tidal wave come, he going. He got to go. The first tidal wave come. He got to go. The same thing where they used to use. The first wave come, they got to go in. It's a damn nonsense.
Okay, jam down.
Let me show you something, Sako. That fellow has damaged the potential of this country with the land. If that woman go over there and see what Denzel do with all these land, the only person over there got the land is Kelvin Wilkins and Kelsey. All the rest poor people, he take the land. Even watch one, he makes sure the time he was there, he buy land over there. But take we one and give it to Bogodani. You understand? That's how we move and think it. And you come and talk about Denzel and Denzel nice. Denzel should put out in the bottomless pit.
Okay, jam
What
down.
are you talking?
Tamp it down,
These
jam down.
fellas
Tamp
have
it.
built this country and trying the best.
Tamp it down, jam down. I understand. I got your passion, but keep it keep it kind of civil.
They're trying the best. So where she talk? When did they come and want to talk and say to poor black people?
Jam
They
down.
don't come up around here and know this trouble here. They can't come talk to me.
Jam down is called voices. Everybody have their opinion. You may not agree with how they express it, but I understand that.
You know where you're talking.
I understand
know
you.
where you're going.
Okay, got you.
When you're going to be talking nonsense, Socrates, people outside there laughing after them, People laughing after them, King Socrates. You know. And I know how think it was in the early 60s, come back to the same thing. I say it already and I will say it again. If Robert Brussels went no university like a lot of young men, and white people couldn't come here and do as they like, and work chicken and government as they like. So I want these young men to understand that, I'm always using it as a clown call for them to pick it up, Here went no university like them. That's why I say when university, and if you see the mess, he make over the Southeast Peninsula. And I hear that talk about road.
Okay, John, we
That
got
this
you.
program here, the one before, talking about the road. God bless Dr. Simmons to build the road that we could see where we had over there. And he give it. This man is a bad youth. He's a bad youth and one fire line. He cannot win the moment in this country. And I tell it loud and clear. So let us come with all the weapons them. Because we ain't afraid down. We ain't afraid them and we ain't backing down, We ain't backing down at all.
Got you,
Have a
John.
good day.
Got you. Okay. On behalf of the management and the station, I want to apologize and put a disclaimer on the statement he made about Dr. Denzel Douglas robbing a certain individual. We don't want to get tangled up in that. So I want to put a disclaimer on that particular statement. It could be phrased differently. But we don't have any facts that anyone particular was robbed by Dr. Douglas. So there's a disclaimer on that particular comment. Okay, we're going to go to this caller. When we come back, we go to a break, please, because we do a break. Caller, 11 voices.
Yes, let me say quickly. You hearing me?
Yes, clearly. I can hear you.
Yes, let me say quickly. I heard all what was said. Okay? I am not in any political back and forth. My response was based on what the elder sister made mention of. I asked the question. I agreed, with what she said. Happened under Mr. Denzel Douglas.
Correct.
Okay, I agreed.
But your question...
But I asked the question.
Has it been
Since
discontinued
2015, has it stopped?
or increased under the current administration? Because it clearly...
Hello?
You asked the question, has it continued or has it increased under the current administration? So we got you clearly.
Right, has it stopped? Because I'm just saying, look at the whole picture, because if we want to go a little further, the present Prime Minister was part of the former administration. He was there when a lot of these things happened. And the country was promised that many of these things would end, right? What my qualm is, if he knew that nothing could have been done, the people should not have been told this. Because there are people who are looking for a lot of these things to end. Just like a lot of people come talking about all the Chinese and them taking over and whatsoever. There are people who want this thing to end. So give the people the reason why all of these things are still happening. Why?
Okay,
so I'm not in any political anything with anybody. I keep telling people that. Me ain't jumping on the political bandwagon with anybody. But the thing about it is no one controls my mind. As long as I am in that position to make my own decision, at least not going to sell that my head. If it happens, well, it remains to be seen what will be done. I don't know. But presently, nothing is held to my head. No one controls my mind, and no one controls me and to tell me what I have to say or not. I said since 2015, has it ended or has it continued? This is not downplaying what happened previously. Has it continued? That's all I want to know.
I got your point. Thank you for your call. And let me just reiterate, we on this program, this particular station, do respect your opinion. We do have to pause for a station break, and when we come back, we have to get the mic to Ras Kalonji, and I want to just put on two little points just for reference. So please take us to a station break.
Found the sound 98.9 FM.
It's the Horsford's Independent Sales Drive for the months of September to October. Horsford's Automotive will be on their biggest sales drive for 2020. Come to Horsford's Automotive in the months of September and October and drive away with up to $30,000 discount on select models. Your choice of either free gas for 3 months or up to $1,000 in free groceries. 50% discount on VAT. Yup, for the months of September and October, pay just 8.5% on VAT. Free servicing for 1 year. Free bill of sale. Free registration, licensing, and tinting. 0 down payment. That's right. Absolutely no down payment. And much, much more. It's the Horsford's Independent Sales Drive. Terms and conditions apply. See store for details.
Okay, welcome back to Voices. There are two short stories that I want to share before we turn the mic over to Ras Kalonji, and they somehow dovetail in our discussions. Let me take the first one. We have to look at the friends of our federation, people who come to invest, etc. I happened to be in the U.S. some years ago, about maybe 15 years ago, and I went to a friend's house. And on her dining table, she had this huge dining table. Spread out on her dining table were the schematics for our entire water system in St. Kitts. Spread out on that person's dining table were the schematics for the water supply of St. Kitts. And when I inquired, she told me that her son was in the military. And as a result, they came here as part of whatever. But they knew our entire the schematics, the layout of our water supplies from the east to west, north to south. I saw that. So we have to look at people who come into St. Kitts, what their interests, what their agenda are when they claim they're friends of the Federation. Second story. I was the driver of a particular institution. I'm not going to call the name for reasons I don't want to put the radio station at risk. For many, many years. And on a given night, I'm driving these particular persons. And the owner of that institution was saying to his friends, some years ago, there was an issue with a certain character called Little Nut on St. Kitts. And the CIA called him and told him to go and tell the then Prime Minister that Little Nut had threatened the lives of the students at that particular institution as a way of pressuring the government or doing something to get Little Nut out of here. I was one who believed that because the entire Federation was in panic. Little Nut threatened to kill the students, blah, 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 blah. I am one who believed that. Years after, this man, I'm driving him around, and he's boasting to his friends that he was able to get the Prime Minister on the instructions of the CIA to spread whatever that Little Nut had threatened the students. So we have to be careful when we invite these people here, what they do, and who we believe. I am one who believed it, because the character then was not too popular, very infamous. And we know the history of that person, but that was something totally fabricated and fed to the Federation by one of the friends and major investor in our Federation. He was boasting that the CIA called him and tell him, go and tell the Prime Minister that Little Nut is threatening the students, and just to force them to get him out of here. My two short stories, the rest is yours.
But you see, but I'm glad that you spoke about that.
Mm-hmm.
Because I could show it in a different sphere where we are in Africa.
Uh-huh.
The Jehovah's Witness, because they use everything, was instrumental in the overthrow of Kwame Nkrumah in Ghana.
Mm-hmm.
And it's the same thing they do. They spread all this propaganda. That is the point I was making to Miss Henry. A lot of time when we see our people trying to strive and make progress, and the hidden hand of imperialism comes in, we turn around and blame our people. And that is what they don't understand. They're doing. I mean, look at Dr. King. Dr. King was a peaceful man. The FBI killed Dr. King.
Mm-hmm.
You understand? So we got to understand all these trickery that our enemy use against us. Now, I'm going to come home now.
Okay.
In the sense that at all of what was said about our different governments and parties that were in power, my position is, and a member of the African Consciousness Movement and a representative of the Provisional Government of the Republic of New Africa, I'm saying, I'm making an appeal to our people. All that we have done in the past, all the mistakes that we have done on both sides, let us acknowledge it and move forward. Because this pandemic that is upon us is not distinguishing whether you're PAM, Labour, CCM, or NRP. This pandemic is to take out African people.
Take the call, Ras Kalonji.
Oh, there's a caller.
Yes, take
okay.
the call.
Yes, go
Caller,
ahead.
your live on Voices. Thanks for your contribution.
Yes, good afternoon.
Hello there, how are you?
Hello, Ras Kalonji on the panel and Mr. Socrates. Mr. Socrates,
yes,
I will agree with what Mr. Jamdong is saying on something. You know, how I look, I wonder sometimes who really fooling who. We used to pay a few years ago, $40 to do a setup on your phone. You think it's right that the company put $60 more on it, and then nobody could go to and say, well, Lord, this can go to everybody, everybody couldn't afford it. I want to know, as the teacher said, sometimes who fooling who? Who fooling who? Because when these things happen to us, it's so touching in your heart that you want to know who you really must be talking about, so you love running your country. Why is it because of the sheer, maybe the government have with the company also that nobody could gonna get justice? And next thing, me and a lady was speaking about this morning with the internet. It's a girl the other day talking and I noticed you drop out. Internet gone. I said, yeah. It's a girl I was in the States, and my niece never pay up in time. And then when I looked the next day, she went and paid Not never pay up. Something happened and the internet drop out. When she went to pay it, that's what I suppose say. The internet was like a $2 off or so, not here. If I tell them they break down him 10 months ago, they still look for this one something, two something, it's advantageous. Right? And you know, him know you
to your
him know you
service
love the
provider.
government. Sometimes him you appreciate certain things the government doing.
Mhm.
Sometimes you just drop your heart right down to your toes and wonder who fooling you. You have a good afternoon.
Okay, thank you, Waits, for that contribution. As you continue, Ras Kalonji.
Yeah, as I was, we were interrupted by the caller.
No, don't worry. It's his voices.
Oh, we have another caller.
Yeah. Caller 11 voices.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon, sir.
Yes. Nobody should take away bread from anybody's mouth if you can't give them biscuit. Right? That's the long and short of it. Right? This nonsense about Douglas bringing in foreign direct investment and Chinese and Indians. So what? Huh? I mean, what other developmental model was there? Did they suggest any? Okay? Could you imagine if Marriott, if Hyatt, if Christoph Harbour, if Four Seasons, if they were not there? Or if you don't think they should have come in, why don't return them then? Why don't you return all the CBI monies that were brought in? It's nonsense to be complaining about it now. We don't use the money, and now we make it. We can't have it both ways. That's the long and short of it. Okay? Argue what to do with the money. But don't blame the previous administration for bringing home the bacon. Huh? When you can't even give them nothing to replace it with, tell me what you should have replaced it with. Okay? That is what was responsible for our living standards being what they are now. That is what was responsible for the surpluses we have. Even now, right? No new change in economic policy.
Here's what. You're making valid points, and we love your contribution, but because of the time that you called, we got just about a minute, and we're like
okay.
So
just wrap
next
up?
time,
Okay.
yes, please. I'm sorry about that, but it's just about your timing. Great points. We love the involvement in the conversation, but we have to try to wrap up. Sorry about that. All right, Ras, please.
Oh, okay. As I was saying before, right? I mean, all the back and forth that is taking place and accusing each other. I'm saying to our people at this particular time, at this particular juncture in our development, not only as St. Kitts and Nevis, Laimig and Oli, but as a people, we have to change our mindset. I'm calling for a truth and reconciliation debate. Because what I'm saying, Brother Socrates, the pandemic could take any one of us out. We here sitting around accusing each other of this and that.
Mm-hmm.
I'm saying to you, the people who want to take us out the planet, looking at us as one, they're not looking at us as PAM and Labour and Unity and CCM and NRP. Mm-hmm. They're seeing a people where, based on where they live, they might be insecure, so they want to eliminate our population to occupy these places. So I'm saying our people have to become realistic. I'm pleading to our people to unite. Throw water, in local parlance, throw water on everything what done gone. Throw water on that. And let's come out and deal with one another with respect and love.
You could only try and try again.
But we're going to keep trying because what I'm saying, I'm convinced all what we're going on with, this COVID going to change our attitude. And I would just like to end. I'm calling for unity. Mm-hmm. This is Ras Kalonji. We cannot keep fighting and arguing amongst ourselves. I want to end with this. A quote from His Majesty and Marcus Garvey. Africa and Africans must be redeemed. And all of us must pledge our manhood, our wealth, and our blood to this sacred cause.
Okay.
And African unity. Unity is the accepted goal. Today, we look to the future calmly, confidently, and courageously. We look to the vision of an Africa not merely free, but united. In facing this new challenge, we can take comfort and encouragement from the lessons of the past. We know that there are differences among us. Africans enjoy different cultures, distinct values, special attributes. But we also know that unity can be and has been attained amongst men of the most desperate origin. That differences of race, of religion, of culture, of tradition are no inseparable obstacles to the coming together of peoples. History teaches us that unity is strength and cautions us to submerge and overcome our differences in the quest for common goals, to strive with all our combined strength for the path of true African brotherhood. Nationhood is the only means by which modern civilization can be completely protect itself. Independence of nationality, of independence of government, is the means of protecting not only the individual but the group. Nationhood is the highest ideal of all people. Give thanks. One love.
Okay. And on that note, I want to say we had a lovely program today. I want to thank all the folks who made the contributions. We hopefully will be back here on next Monday. And my name is Socrates. But before I go, before I get slaughtered, I want to say happy belated birthday greeting to Cleo, Louise Hodge down in Anguilla, Amber, did my piece. Happy birthday, guys. Have a wonderful one. And to all our callers and to our many listeners and viewers, once again, thank you for tuning in to WinFM and Voices.
And before we leave, I'd like to say what Granny say. Plant weed, buy local, and support your own.
Pop.
WINN is 98.9.